Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Hello and welcome to SciTech Culture, the show where we discuss science, technology and culture in its myriad of forms. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined once again by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern. How are we today, Steve?
I'm good, thanks, Ben. Hello, everyone. We've got some good topics, and I'm a little bit toothless today.
Oh, well, always adds to the view and something different each week anyway. We thought we'd do a couple of things today. It's our 40th episode, so we're getting along quite well now. I think we've gone past that point of feeling like it just started, even though it was a year and a half ago or something that we did actually start.
Yeah.
But I think we're starting to rack up the episodes now. But we're going to do a science, tech and culture topic individually just to, sort of round it out a little bit. And we're going to start with a science topic. And I always love astronomy and things to do with space. And there's an article in the ABC News site about astronomers pushing the Hubble Space Telescope to its limits to observe the most remote galaxy ever seen. And it was located a record 13.4 billion light years from Earth in the direction of the constellation Ursa Major. The galaxy named GN-Z11 was first spotted 2 years ago in a deep sky visible light survey. And it seems like they've been able to pinpoint exactly that this was actually a real thing. But the thing that was really amazing was they've got a little graph there and just putting it all in perspective from the Big Bang all the way through to now, and that that particular galaxy is actually quite close to where, relatively speaking, to the Big Bang, and it just it keeps blowing your mind really when you start to think in cosmological terms how these things work. That
the scale is enormous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the idea that, basically if it's 13.4 billion light years away that we're seeing that far into the past, that's a concept that I always find fascinating, because that's not how we would perceive our existence here. The idea that you look up into the sky and you're looking into the past.
Yeah.
Sort of retro time travel, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the scale, the Earth is about 4.6 billion years old. This is another 3 times that, roughly, in terms of, I mean, that's just amazing. And the fact that, so many galaxies have formed, reformed, and this galaxy would be one of the first galaxies of the type that would have been, as you say, back close to the Big Bang. So it's one of the original galaxies. It's amazing.
And also, do we know if it's and this is the thing that I always find amazing too, a bit like with stars, that even though we can see them, it doesn't mean that they're still there necessarily.
Well, that's right. That's right. So chances are that even though we're seeing the light, and the reason that this galaxy would be so interesting is because we have that connection to what a first galaxy might have looked like. And so, by now, who knows, stars in it might have died, become black holes, supernova. It's amazing to think that we can look back in time like that and see where we've come from, and that much closer to the Big Bang.
One thing that I think people like Lawrence Krauss have described and others is that we're fortunate in a way to be alive when we are, because the further we go along in time, and the further the universe starts to go colder and colder, we're going to see less opportunity to actually see things, because they're going to basically disappear and the light will disappear basically. And it's almost and they've also said that we may have missed out on a whole bunch of things that were there before but have since flamed out, and so at least now we're being able to see things, and we're living through a period where we can observe and document all of this stuff.
Yeah, well, it's as we say quite frequently with these things, the timescales are amazing. And one day our sun will stop, and one day Earth will cease to exist. That's guaranteed.
Mm.
The universe will be a different one then. Everything changes. It's the nature of the universe. So to be able to look back and see these things now and get a glimpse of how things might have been is fascinating for us, and it's very important science, of course, too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll move on to our tech topic now, and Google's self-driving car crashes into a bus, although it was really more of a minor crash rather than the whole thing got written off. Although it makes for a great headline if you do it. Now, Google's self-driving cars have been in accidents before, but always on the receiving end, at least until now. The company has filed an accident report confirming that one of its autonomous vehicles collided with a bus in Mountain View. The crash happened when the robotic SUV had to go into the center lane to make a right turn around some sandbags. Both the vehicle and its test driver incorrectly assumed that a bus approaching from behind would slow or stop to let the car through. The Lexus smacked into the side of the bus at low speed, damaging its front fender, wheel, and sensor in the process. And I think this is probably a highlight of that there's still a long way to go with, I guess, the self-driving car technology, from the point of view that human drivers have the ability they've got an intuition to sense danger or sense something's not right. So even if something looks like it's going to happen a certain way, a human can probably react really quickly if it turns out it's not what they expect. Whereas programming that into an AI type interface they still haven't quite got there yet.
No, they haven't. But this crash was really interesting because it's the first one, I think, where the driverless car has been accepted the blame. And all the other accidents have been humans at fault. But the interesting thing is the Google test driver who has to sit there, because by law you have to have a human there to take control of the car if there is an incident like this pending. And interestingly, the human driver didn't intervene because he assumed exactly the same thing as the car, which was the bus would give way. But the bus didn't. And it's gone and, actually the Google car's driven into the side of the bus. The interesting thing here, and I think this is the key to driverless cars, if the bus had no human driver, I think this accident wouldn't have happened. So it's just more proof that the sooner they take all humans off the roads and replace us all with driverless vehicles, it'll be a lot safer.
What about the fun of driving? We're going to miss out on it. Unless it's sort of restricted to like some theme park type thing that we all go to in our driverless cars.
I think that's what will happen. I think driving as we know it will become effectively recreation. I mean, I like driving. I like cars, but I don't really like driving cars very much at the restrictive speed limits that we have today. So I'd much prefer to hail a Johnny Cab.
Exactly.
And read a book on the way to work.
Well, that's I kind of have a feeling like that too, because I used to drive everywhere when I was still living in Adelaide, and I used to enjoy it quite a lot. But for whatever reason, over time, I still enjoy driving from time to time, but I don't think I miss it when I'm not doing it. So especially, I think seems to be a lot more cars these days, and than what there used to be. Traffic's worse, the whole bit. So unless you're doing country driving, which is a different type of driving, it's not really fun to be driving around in the city.
No, that's right. And to be honest, I've realised I'm a pretty bad driver anyway, so I'd much prefer to hand over to an algorithm.
Oh, surely not. All right, and we're going to move on to our last topic now, a cultural topic, and it's got to do with anonymous bullying and harassment. And in our century, obviously, it's online through social media and Twitter. We've always had, this issue, regardless of whether it's done through a digital means or not. As an example, I got some old school harassment this week when someone wrote a rather profane thing on a toilet cubicle of me, which I was deeply impressed by when I realised that it was probably someone in their mid-40s that probably did it. And
still has a mental age of 15.
or less than that. that's a very old, that's sort of a, unfortunately, that's like obviously, apart from being bad, it's like, I guess, like I said, the old school way of doing it. It's very visible and that sort of thing. But you can easily see how this type of thing can be seen in the online world. Twitter's probably an excellent example, just right there, of some really, really bad stuff being put out to people. And I mean, I think, we've got obviously our Twitter feed for SciTech Culture, and thankfully it's not a personal one. But if I had a personal one, I think I might be like you, Steve. I don't think I'd probably bother, to be honest.
Yeah, I find it very hard to embrace social media anymore for a whole range of reasons. One is just that I disagree with a lot of people, what a lot of people say on social media. It just works me up. Because I restrain myself from saying what I'd really think on social media and making myself a target.
But that's the thing. Like, you're restraining yourself, and obviously these people aren't, and they're taking a real childish response to things.
Look, I think.
Whereas I would think your response would be a lot more thought-filled and and considered.
Well, it's quite interesting. Yeah, you'd think that, but it's pointless. It's pointless responding to these people. And I actually subscribe to some online news sites, and this thing now, the viciousness of commentary today is just spilled over into that. So effectively, you've got a news story. I saw one actually when gravitational waves were discovered.
Oh yeah.
Or seen the other week, and the vitriol around these scientists who are receiving taxpayer money just to look at stuff that has no use or no relevance. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. It made you think that if you ever discovered something as amazing as gravitational waves, you probably wouldn't want to tell anyone in the future. It's like that's where it starts. And then, of course, as you say, that anonymity and the fact that you can comment on anything and not even be an expert or have any idea on the facts. The other good example now is the vitriol flying around with the LGBTI.
Yeah.
It's just there's just vitriol on both sides, and that doesn't help anyone. And then we see, where the good old-fashioned letter writing, pictograms, notes. It doesn't matter whether it's online or in real life. It's just uncalled for. And I think over time that's probably the sort of thing that Twitter's got problems in that it's not growing, and I think because some people are just getting sick of it.
Well, and understandably so. But I think what makes the main difference between old school sort of harassment that way and what can be done online is that it's very quick and it's a lot easier to be anonymous. I mean, obviously, you could probably track them down through IP addresses or whatever, but that would be a big hassle. But the thing that, just as a, if I bring back my example, is that whoever this was had to know that, I would use the toilet there and see it, and would have to, sort of make the effort to figure that out, go in there, make sure I wasn't in there, and, all that business. Whereas on the internet, they can do it anytime they like, from anywhere, and they can do it from a fictitious account that you'll never be able to track, and it's instantaneous. And the only way to do it is maybe to block them or to do something else, or just shut your feed down or something.
Well, you can do those things. It's never nice, when people can publicly have a go at you. You can't defend yourself. But I think the reality is you just have to look past it, because all of these people thrive on the fact that you see their comment and it gets some sort of reaction. So the interesting thing, it really is quite twisted. If you look at the bare essence of what it is, exactly as you say, Ben, the fact in your instance that somebody would actually have to plan to go in to do it anonymously, and yet they know that you're going to see it at some stage. That's just people like that. just on the bare face of it, you would have to assume are emotionally disturbed or like incredibly immature.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, but we see more and more of this online.
Yeah.
I mean, we see some very strange things online. I've got one Facebook friend who has been dying now for 6 to 8 months. Now, being a Facebook friend, I don't actually know this person in real life at all.
Yeah.
But all she does is show scars of operation after operation after operation. I don't think she's got any organs left.
Yeah.
But anyway, she might be not very well mentally and or physically, and she might be genuine. I've got no idea. But the vitriol that she gets online from people accusing her of not being genuine is just equally as bizarre. I've been transfixed watching this, because even if she is faking it, the people who are investing time and effort to engage with her and viciously engage with her, they're made for each other. Maybe it's bizarre. I don't understand what the motivations or what sort of benefit a person gets from being like that.
I think to bring it full circle is that it's a shame that we're living in an age where all of this technology allows for so much positive expression. So, for instance,
and yet we see so little of it.
But the thing is, we do this type of, like a classic example. We did that episode on, I can't remember the documentary that I saw that was bogus about food and what you should be eating, and we ripped into it. And then there was a rather nasty comment put on our YouTube account, which I since removed because I didn't think it added anything to the conversation. And it takes us time. Obviously, we can produce these videos very quickly, but it takes time. It takes our time. There's some setup. So when you're producing a piece, it takes time and effort to do that, but it takes no time at all to write some, really crappy comment against someone. And that's the problem, I think. It's too easy to do the bad thing in these instances. And I'm not sure how we can get around it, because you can't have one without the other, because it's not the technology's fault here. It's the way it's being used.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It's bizarre though, isn't it? Like that humans seem so prone to expressing themselves in that way. And you're right, it's negatively. But we don't see a lot of positivity on the internet. Yeah. Altruistic positivity. But what you do see is a lot of negativity. And I think that's really the big battle of the human psyche, and maybe why we're always so impressed by positive leaders.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point.
All right, well, if you want something positive and engage in a thoughtful discussion, just come and see us. We're more than happy to hear from you. So thanks again for that, Steve. It's a couple of interesting topics in there, I think, and things we can have a look at in the future as we go along.
Absolutely.
All right, so don't forget our website, SciTechCulture.com. You can get all of our links and content there. You can interact with us nicely, of course, on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. So I'd love to hear from you. And if you can think of anyone that would be interested in these discussions that Steve and I have on a regular basis, feel free to send them to our website. We'd greatly appreciate that, and they'd be able to have a look at all the content. And 40 episodes now, so we're doing really well. All right, so that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.